To prepare my tomatoes, whether I'm making ketchup or just stewed tomatoes or whatever, you want to make sure that your tomatoes have been washed. And since I'm going to be putting it into a tomato press, and also this helps out also by going ahead and taking this out as you're washing them. So I'm preparing to get these skins off, or the peelings off. My water is obviously hot. I'm gonna make it easy. I do it this way when I'm gonna put it in my tomato press. So I will let these go in here for about 2 minutes. I set my timer. You see I'm working fast. You hear the water running. I have also got the water running. We'll be cooling these tomatoes off. As soon as this timer goes off, then I'll be taking the tomatoes out. One of the things I like to do, whoops, got one, is take a spoon and keep these, so the ones on the bottom, you know, hopefully all of them will be, and it does work out, all of them will get the same even temperature and won't be sitting on the bottom. You can go for a minute, but I usually try to go for 2 minutes. Over in this pot beside me, I'm making ketchup. Getting it ready. So these are, whether I'm making ketchup or whatever I'm doing, this is how I get my peelings off, or my skins. So this is really hot. At this point in time, I can start taking it out if I want to. After this, the water, and sometimes I put ice in the water, but especially if I got a lot of tomatoes, I'll just run cold water and get these to cool down so they won't continue cooking. And since we got 37 minutes, what I'm going to do is start taking these out. We do have smaller ones in here. There's some Roman tomatoes, summer pick, big beef, celebrities, Homestead tomatoes. And I'm going to put this off for a minute, put it down, because it doesn't need to be boiling. Then I'm going to take these right here, go ahead and put them over there in the sink of water. So they can be cooling down. So I was putting all the tomatoes in the sink at one time. I can tell by the touching them that they're ready. Just by how the peelings, the skin is feeling. Go ahead and put these over there. I'm going to take my bigger ones and I'm going to cut them into pieces, and then I'll put them in there and mash them down. You can make it even faster if you go ahead and cut your bigger ones up and have them sitting in a bowl. Since I've got so many tomatoes, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to go ahead and start pressing. So I already put some Roma tomatoes in there. They're smaller ones. They're meaty. I don't have to cut these up. This is my press. And then I'm gonna, there's a hole, so you're gonna push it down and you just turn the handle. Now to begin with, it's gonna look like you're wasting a lot of tomatoes, but I'm gonna show you what I do to get as much tomatoes as you can get out of these tomatoes. See the sauce running. This is such a breeze. Before, I will take and put my tomatoes in hot water and then get the skins off of them, get the core out, and you know, then chop them up or whatever. We'll get ready for the can them. But this makes life so much easier. On this other side over here, you'll see that the tomatoes coming out. That's where it looks like that I'm wasting a lot of tomatoes, but I'm not. And I like to take a spoon and help this along while I'm doing it. So this also comes up. I like to also take this right here as I'm going, because I found out if I just keep doing that, it's kind of, you know, it's kind of too much for this strainer here. And that way it's not all, say, stopped up. Makes it clean up a little bit easier. So this can slide up so that juice won't continue to run. This is what it now looks like. And let me put this right here. And this is what just came out. And so what I do is I put this right back in there, and I'm gonna do this about 3 times. According to the tomatoes and how it's looking. And so watch this. Now there's not that much in here as it was before, but I'm gonna mash it down in that little hole at the top, and I still get my tomatoes. Now it doesn't have all the seeds out. That's where I'm going to use my sieve if I need to. To get the rest of the seeds out according to my recipe as far as canning. Over here. And this is the peelings, it's the seeds, it's the core. You can do that as many times as you want, but I find out when it's already gone down, I find out about 3 times is sufficient. You can do it 4, but I have a lot of tomatoes, and I find out that that's just enough. Because that's a lot of peelings that's in this now, just peelings and seeds. Oops, I about dropped it. We're going to put some more tomatoes in there. You're doing a lot of tomatoes, even just a little bit of tomatoes, this thing's worth it. It's just worth it. Bigger tomatoes I cut up to help out, just to help with the machine. Just makes it so it's not working so hard. I'm going to take care of it. Cut those up, put all my aromas in there. My bigger tomatoes, cut them up. If I had time, I've got something, ketchup going on the stove now, but I would take my bigger tomatoes and go ahead and cut them up. I need to rinse my hands. You can look online and find these. This actually, some places, if you go online, you can go to Walmart, but they didn't have extra of these strainers here for like fruits and berries, making salsa, you know, variety of, it came with this, with a strainer, little strainer that helps this to come out. And then it came also with 4 other ones for the same price as Walmart did. I believe this one right here is the pumpkin strainer. I find that this works out. I think it's a pumpkin strainer. It says it in leaf strainer, it'll have the name on it of, you know, what you could be using it for. But I believe this one's the pumpkin. I think that worked out best for me for what I'm going to be using it for. If you're making salsa, they have one that's strictly for salsa. Beware, it will splash. And here, I need to go in here. I just find it's really easy, better to help this thing along. We don't want it to overwork. In this little bit of time, we're not quite half a bowl, but this is a big bowl. that's sort of filled up. And then we're going to do it one time. Push it down in that hole a little bit. If you wanted to, you can just do all your tomatoes. I mean, I've done it like that, and then go back and do this part. I kind of like doing it like this, and then I'll have another bowl set. Most of the time I'll have another bowl set aside and just put all the cores and peelings or the skins on the seeds, and just go put it in the compost. Or chickens. Most times chickens don't. Unless they're hungry, they're not eating it. Throw it in the garden. So now I'm going to be doing the rest of these tomatoes, and when I get this bowl almost filled up, then I just take and go put it in my pot, and then what I'm going to be using these tomatoes for recipe, then it'll be ready. So when you get to a place that maybe you want to stop and get some of the seeds out, then my little helpful tip is use a scraper. See, this has now gotten to basically mostly seeds, but when it gets to this stage right here, then it wants to stay up on the sides, and you're no longer pressing the juice and pressing these seeds down so you can get as much seeds out. So what I do is I keep my little rubber spatula here, and I keep it on the side so it'll scrape it down. And then that way I can get as much of the tomatoes out as I can and not stay up onto the sides. In the meantime, juice is still dropping down. I think that we're good at this point. And if it gets too much of a little clump, you just mash it down. Keep your spatula, little rubber spatula scraper here on the side. And that's it. So now what we're going to do is that we're just going to go ahead and get some of these seeds out, because this is pretty much nothing but seeds. So that when we do the last batch, this is 21 cups so far. Well, there's probably 2 more batches. So we do the last couple batches, then we won't have all these seeds in the way. And we can pretty much just get this finished, getting all these seeds out. So, yeah. So this will be chicken food. We'll just give it to the chickens. If you don't have chickens, you can just throw it in your garden, your compost. So around here, we don't waste anything. So we have gotten 27 cups of tomatoes here. We've gotten all the seeds out now. Now I cook mine down some before I get the seeds out. And I also put onions in there, and I can't tell you the amount because not everybody likes a whole lot of onions, and so I pretty much look at my vegetable and just judge it. The reason I go ahead and put the onions in then before I get the seeds out is because those onions can cook down, and then even when I'm trying to get the seeds out, I can still see some onions in there. So when I'm mashing these seeds out, then I'm also mashing that onion flavor down, and it's going right back into the tomatoes. So all these are seeds, and they're going to be going to the chickens or compost or the worm bin or the garden. And so none of this is going to get wasted, but as you can see, it's just pretty much a lot of seeds. Now I use my tomato press before I do this part. The reason I use the tomato press is because it gets out a lot of seeds. It gets out, you know, it takes the skin off, it takes the core out, and it makes it just a lot faster. And therefore, when I'm starting to get the seeds out again, then I don't even have as much seeds. I just have a lot of seeds, but I don't have as much. Now we see that we don't see any seeds in here, and we're ready to continue on making ketchup. As you notice that it does already have a little bit of thickness to it. That's another reason I like to cook it down some, and that way it's going to, you know, tomatoes can burn, so you've got to make sure that you're keeping it constantly stirred. And so I go ahead and cook it down, and now we'll just continue on with the rest of this recipe. Now I want to show you some of the cookbooks, home canning, freezing books that I use. These are older ones. I have one modern, but the recipe I'm going to be using is coming out of this Kerr book here. I'm not sure if you can get this one now. I've had it for years and years, where Kerr was giving away one of these books at the grocery store. If you bought some jars and different things like that, they gave it to you. So I had to pick one up and kept it all these years. This two right here came from, or three, came from my grandmother. My mother had them also. And these are USDA, aquaculture, USDA books here. Some of these older books right here have better recipes into it. The old-fashioned ones, they'll have like squash in there, things like that. Making pickles and relish at home. Making pickles in North Carolina. We're in North Carolina here. I believe that you used to be able to pick these up at the USDA. Home canning of fruits and vegetables. And you see how small they are, but they have all the kind of vegetables that you be wanting to can. This book right here I ordered off of Amazon. It's a Ball's Blue book. It's an older version, and so it has some really good recipes in that, or canning recipes. This says for home canning, freezing, and dehydration. This book here I had picked up at Walmart. So that one I just did sweet pickles, spears from this one. This is another good book. I have got this one at Walmart also back in the day. Blue book, Guide to Preserving. And this book here I got off of Amazon. It's a really good book. It's put out by the USDA Complete Guide to Home Canning. So that's one of the modern books, but I don't believe it had squash in there, or it'll say like collards and things like that, but it did say green. So anyways, this is a very good book. I use this one a lot also. I do like the older books, the old-fashioned way of canning. It actually is, say, the true way. But this USDA, I looked through it, just checking out the how it's different canning recipes, ways of canning different things, and it has a lot of the old ones in there. So that's very good. And it has some newer models. I say newer models. It has newer ones in there. So like I said, this is a good book here. So if you're just starting out canning, I would definitely get this one right here. I would definitely try to see if you could find the Ball Blue book. That one right there. See if you can find that one. And another one, let's see here. This one right here is a good one. Just a couple other books. I have lots of books of recipes and canning books, but the ones I showed you are basically the ones I use. I got this off of Amazon, It's a complete guide to pressure canning. It has good recipes into it. When I say recipes, like you fix up the meal, the recipe, and then you're going to can it. So it's a really super good book. It has a different variety of things. It doesn't have as much as the old-fashioned recipes, but it's got some really good recipes into it. This book right here is a ball book. It's called Complete Book of Home Preserving. It's 400 delicious and creative recipes for today. Now this came with the ball blue book. They sent it to me. They didn't have to, and I appreciate it so much. But this is like from beginning, starting from seeds. You know, how to take your tomatoes or maters onto a journey, and all the way up to canning, different recipes. It's called Supplement to National Gardening, the Book of Tomatoes. I don't know if you can find this one anymore, but it's a really super good book. It's very short. Back in the day, they kind of made them just very small and simple. This is just a wide row of gardening. It's really a great, so it's something to consider or trying to, you know, if you can find this. I don't know if you can find it, but if you see this somewhere, pick it up because it's really good. It's talking about pruning unstaking plants, side dressing, how to stake, straight up and down, transplanting, indoor care, notes on transplant shock, you know, and how to get your seeds to germinate, tomatoes varieties, and how long it's going to take them to, or whether they're going to be determinate or indeterminate, how many days it's going to take for them to grow, and if they're disease resistant or not, which ones that are disease resistant. And so it's really super. So if you can try to find that, that would be a good one. Maybe someone has it for sale somewhere, maybe on Amazon, I don't know, but they sent this with the ball blue book, and I really super love this one. This is a 1985 book here. In 1985, you can get them in 1985 and 1987. This is some of my tomatoes that I have picked. Still got lots of tomatoes onto the bush out there. As you can see, some of them are picked green. That helps keep helps keep the stink bugs out. When you have all ripe tomatoes, the stink bugs my experience, wants to take over. So you see the quantity of tomatoes here. Some people say let them ripen up or pick them ripe off the vine. They'll taste better. I haven't noticed much difference. I haven't noticed any difference really. This is a variety of tomatoes here. Some are PECK, Celebrities, Homestead, and Big B. So the stink bugs are in our heat and humidity. They want to take over the garden. Last year they took over my tomatoes, me trying to get them to ripen up onto the vine. And then I have one tomato, small cherry tomato out there that I was letting ripen up, and they just started wanting to take it over. So I definitely keep these red ones off of there. But also having this quantity of tomatoes, if all these ripen up at the same time, there's no way I can can all these tomatoes at one time. So taking them off, almost turning red, about red, or taking them off green, so that, I have a good quantity of tomatoes to can at one time. Because sometimes tomatoes don't come off of the bush all at the same time. Not in my area with the heat and humidity, but now I remember when I was growing up, you will see fields of tomatoes. But also you got to consider, if you're going to try to have these tomatoes onto the vine, then you're going to have to spray something to keep the pests out, keep them, because those stink bugs, the adult stink bugs, they will sting these tomatoes. And once they sting them, they put they inject something in there. It's a sting in it. And so it starts, the tomato, it puts little black spots, and the tomato will just end up rotting. I tried that last year. how to fight them last year, and it was a journey. And I just pretty much won the battle. I got the tomatoes off of there, but with those little stings on there, I had to throw a whole lot of tomatoes away. So I'm staying up on it this year. I'd rather pick them not completely ripe and pick some that's green, so I have a quantity of tomatoes to can at one time.